86 is back, and man, I don't even know where to start with this show. So much to really cover in just this first episode, and I'm pretty excited to jump right back on the series. I had my hesitations getting into this season because I kind of felt like, depending on where it goes from this first episode, will kind of tell if I'm liking the direction or I'm going to be hesitant of it. So, yeah, it turned out to be an episode that really does have me excited for the future of the series, so that's a good thing. But it's my thoughts on the first episode of 86, the second season. Obviously, if you have not watched the first season, please avoid this video because I will be talking about characters that we are in a question mark about with the end of the first season, so I don't really want to spoil things for people. So with that said, let's jump right into it. But yeah, opening the episode, it looks like some time has passed. It looks like Lena is actually a captain now. There's a new lieutenant colonel that is ahead of her now. She no longer is under Jerome, which obviously was kind of a thing that was protecting her for quite a while, but it does seem like she's able to still manipulate this lieutenant colonel because she's like, hey, based on what I perform, how many legions I take out, it's a better chance for you to get promoted. So maybe that was hinting at the fact that technically Jerome got promoted at some point. Yeah, being a captain now, she does have people that are under her, and she's apparently using these people to essentially work on information gathering for her. And so they're like looking into how many howitzers are available and the status of them, because obviously if she asks her leadership for howitzers, they're not going to give it to her. So she's still doing things outside of the norms against her actual orders in order to keep the people that are on the battlefield alive. As we do find out, the team that's working under her is a new team, obviously, because we, seen the other ones pretty much dead. So the new lead to her platoon is named Cyclops, or at least codenamed Cyclops. And it seems like this lady is very much so positive when it comes to Lena. She calls her queen, and seemingly in some conversations later, it seems like whatever Lena has planned for the future, she's on board with it. She has decided that she is going to help Lena, whatever she decides to do. There seems to be some kind of question as to if the Legion will attack first or if they're going to be able to build plans for their attack instead. So I'm not sure if this is hinting that Lena has plans on going on a full offense in order to take out the threat of the Legion, or if it just means that they're talking about the current base and how they're going to overcome it. It does seem like Cyclops has mentioned the idea that she's only a few months away before she'll be sent on basically the Death March, as we've kind of seen with the last group. At some point when they're in service with the Sag Magnolia, eventually the 86 or members of the 86 will eventually have to be sent out on a death march, basically. Send them out into the middle of the Legion in order to die, and maybe Lena is working on some sort of plan to overcome that. It also seems like she's in good nature with Annette again, which was kind of a shocker. Annette is currently working on some sort of thing to add a feature to the para-raid system. So whatever that is, we'll have to wait and see. It also does look like Lena has some sort of difference in her hair. She has like some long strands of red hair. I'm not sure if that's insinuating the effects of the para-raid system that she used last season, or if it's just something that she's using as a symbolism towards maybe the Lost 86. She also goes out of her way to wear a black uniform, which a lot of the other military are kind of looking down upon her for doing that. She says that they're obviously saying that she's going out of her way to save the pigs, and that she's going out of her way to wear a black uniform, which nobody else does. I don't know, again, if that's a symbolism of the lost. Often black is worn to mourn, and I don't know if she's using that in order to mourn for the loss of the 86, or if she's using it as a way of showing that she's not in alignment with the rest of the military. So either way, the Lena that we had at the end of the last season is definitely here. She's very much more demanding. She's much more manipulative to her commanders. And she's not afraid of showing that she's willing to help the 86 out there. And the way that she's able to manipulate her leadership, unlike with Jerome, where it was a thing of Jerome knew her father and he was protecting her, in this case it seems like her status of how many legions she takes out is hard for them to ignore. So basically her performance is too good that they can't really do anything about her attitude. They did also technically hint at the aspect that obviously not having Shin with them anymore does put them at a disadvantage, because with Cyclops, she's mentioning the idea that because they're jamming signals, they were unable to see them until they got close to the base. And so they were waiting on orders from her on what to do. So it does seem like, whereas before, Shin was able to overlook that jamming because he could hear the voices, now they're at a huge disadvantage because now they're able to get close to the base without being noticed. So now the bigger stuff for this episode. Obviously, it is the reveal that yes, Shin, Anju, Kurina, Theto, and Raiden are all still alive. And I'm I'm mixed. I'm mixed on this. I'm very mixed on this. Not so mixed on everybody else besides Shin, because obviously at the end of last season, we didn't really see them die. They were just kind of knocked unconscious and laying there. So I can easily see somebody rushing in and saving them, if possible. The problem's more in Shin, as we've seen a full-on symbolism of him being detached, and showing that detachment, and showing that connection to the system, which was in effect a connection to his brother. So unless they found him, stopped him from being taken away after being harvested, and somehow maybe their kingdom knows how to reattach him to his body, that bothers me. But who knows? Maybe it was just an aspect of him being lost in the moment and maybe having a slight connection to his brother, and he felt that aspect happening to him. Maybe he wasn't really harvested. But like I said, it showed a lot of symbolism of his harvesting. And even in still, it's an aspect of the writer trying to play this whole, oh, we fooled you, it didn't really happen. Similar to issues like with, I want to say this show because then it kind of spoils things, but having that aspect of that finale where somebody dies and then go, next season, oh, never mind, they're not dead because we fooled you. I don't know. It feels wrong. It definitely does feel wrong because like I said, every sign shows to that he was harvested. But again, maybe it's that they stopped the harvesting and they have the technology to reattach him. I don't know. That seems to be far of a stretch because it's not a very simple process to attach somebody's head to their body. But I don't know. We'll see. But at any rate, I was still happy to see them. Plus, it also opens up a whole new area. Because obviously for the entire first season, we were always in the San Magnolia Empire. We never really got to see any of the surrounding nations. And it was funny because I almost thought they were going to be brought into another nation. There was another one that was to the east, I believe. I forget what the name of it was. And I was thinking that maybe it was that group, but no, this actually ends up being the Giad Empire, but they have been overthrown. After the Legion went crazy, they overthrew the nation and made it into the Giad Federation. We meet Ernst, who is pretty much the provisional president. He's in play for the moment to kind of make sure that they have leadership of some sort, and he pretty much goes there to welcome the crew to their nation. Obviously, they're kept behind locked doors because they don't know if they were bad or not. They checked to make sure they weren't bioweapons or anything like that. But he assures them that they will not harm them, and instead actually ends up bringing them home. There was some conversation about killing them just so that they can be, just to be safe, just take them out. But it seems like even when Thieto's like, it'd probably be safer if you just killed us. He's like, well, you do want that? The way that Ernst says is that humanity would be better off dead if they were willing to kill children just to become safer or because that they are strange. And I really did like that statement, though I'm holding my reservation on this guy. I don't really trust this guy, and I think I'll get in that more later on. But yeah, it does seem like everybody in command really does want to at least talk to these kids because they do acknowledge they were using these very underdeveloped juggernauts to have speed and able to take down opponents. And they want to know what makes them tick. They want to know the knowledge of them. One was even saying, basically, forget those those slow things that you guys have. I have a prototype they'll be perfect in. And again, Ernst is like, no, I don't want to force these kids to fight. They said they want to be on the battlefield. I don't want to throw them out there because I want them to have a choice between, yes, going out there again, but also the idea of freedom and peace. He wants to give to them what the San Magnolia would not. San Magnolia denied them the ability to be free, and he wants to give that option to them. Again, I don't necessarily trust this statement completely. After this, they travel through the city in a car. They see pretty much everybody. There are also Alba out there, but everybody's free in this city, obviously. It's not a case of everybody's Alba, like with San Magnolia, which obviously we knew. But not only that, but they see a rally. Again, I don't have any trust for Ernst. This rally is a bunch of people surrounding the sign that says we must save the 86. The 86 are our comrades. They want to save them. Ernst said that basically when they found out that they had saved these children from the battlefield, everybody was excited to know that there was another nation out there that survived. But not only that, but they know that the 86 were a district that were being forced to fight for the 85. And so they want to go there and save the 86, claiming that they are their comrades. Again, I think this is staged. I have zero. I'm totally being suspicious of this country completely. But anyway, after this, they end up going to Ernst's house, where it was big, huge mansion, and they walk up to the door, and he says, "Welcome to my home." And then, yeah, bam, you hear some clanging and banging in the background. This goofy girl with Misaki Kuno's voice, which again, I when I first heard her voice, I immediately texted Chris and said, "You're gonna want to watch this show now because here we got Tama's voice." Yeah, she's clanging around in the background. You hear her basically trying to get a desk to the front door because she wants to stand upon it and look down upon these kids that walk in the door and claim that you should be happy that you're in here and that we're giving you this nice place to stay. Your thanks will be enough, lol beings. And yeah, sure enough, Shin looks behind him and she's like, "What are you looking at?" He's like, "I just thought that somebody else was here. Maybe you're talking to somebody else." Very goofy introduction for her. Which, yes, as most people that watched the first season probably quickly jumped on, this is the Empress. This was the girl that Shin very briefly seen in a vision that this guy is saying that he must save her. And we've seen her standing, I think she was covered in blood. Obviously, the Empress that was of the Giad. And so, obviously, once this empire was overthrown, apparently Ernst took her in and gave her a place to stay as his adopted daughter. As to how much she knows and how much this is angry for her, or maybe she just sees it as the situation she's in, is a big question mark. The question mark, obviously, is, did they overthrow the government when it was already being taken down by the Legion, and her parents were already dead, and so he just took her in, which would kind of explain her being okay with being underneath him. She still calls him a lowly bureaucrat, but doesn't seem like she's vicious to him. So it thus implies that he didn't go in there and kill her father and parents or whatever and then kidnapped her. It does seem like she understands that this is the situation that she's in. But yeah, following this, we pretty much find out that Ernst has basically adopted all of them, wants them to all be one big happy family. And here's Frederica, this Empress girl that is now your little sister. He doesn't tell them that she's the Empress. Let me correct that. She just says that, due to circumstances, she's here now. And I'm taking care of her as my daughter. And now you're all family. She even says, you can call me Papa. And they're like, a moment of silence there. And then he's like, "I'm just joking." But yeah, it seems like he wants them to all be a happy family there, kind of recover from their wounds. They specifically go out that way to point that out because Frederica is asking about the wound on Shin's neck. And he's like, don't ask about that. We all have wounds that other people don't want to see, and we're here to heal them, basically. Jumps to a scene where Ernst goes to visit Shin in his room and gives him something that was inside the Juggernaut. We end up finding out that it is a fragment of a Juggernaut that has Rei on it. I don't remember if they were saying that Shorei, his brother's short for his name, was Rei. So I'm not sure if that's implying that that is the fragment of his brother, or if it's just a new person that we don't know yet that's name is Rei. Like I said, I don't remember them giving Shorei a nickname of Rei, but I'm sure we'll find that out soon. If somebody remembers them calling him Rei in the first season, maybe you can let me know in the comments. But yeah, in the final scene, we obviously see Ernst walking into this room. He's telling Teresa, their maid, that obviously, sorry, that's so much trouble with all these kids to feed now. And then he mentions the idea that he thinks that it might be stupid that he's compensating for things and that he's using them as a replacement. And Teresa said that that's not possible because everybody is irreplaceable, basically. And then Frederica says that everybody is trying to bury something. And that's when Ernst says, "Who are you talking to, Empress?" And she says, "Kitty." A lot of interesting little things kind of thrown in one little bag there. I'm wondering if Kitty was the guy that Shin seen in that vision that was trying to protect the Empress. That would be interesting. But yeah, a lot to go over here. On Lena's side, I'm happy to see that she is still commanding the way that she was at the end of last season. We've seen a lot of development for her, and to see her still kind of very demanding and very sure of herself is really fantastic. Seeing that she has a new platoon that seems to be more positive with her is great as well. Obviously, she has a plan to go forward. Interested to see where that goes, and if that'll possibly ever see them meeting up with the others at Giad. On the side of Shin, I really do not trust this Ernst guy. And the why I said that is because he obviously has a lot of people around him that are more negative to the existence of these kids. And it's obvious that he's not in his position because he's a nice guy. I really do think this is going to be one of those things where maybe it's a guy that knows how to control people using positivity. Rather than using force, using coercion through positivity and manipulation through trust. And I think that's what they possibly do. I mean, it could turn out that Ernst is a good guy and they're in the good area and they'll just fight the Legion from the other direction. But I really do think at some point this is going to turn to a thing where Ernst is manipulating them to think that they have an option, but in actuality, he's just trying to gain their trust because he already knows they want to go on the battlefield. So what better way to have them protect him personally, not just the Giad, than to have them trust him like a father? And I think that's what they're doing. Trust the nation fully, and thus you'll die for them. And I think that's what's going to happen. Gain their trust, get all the information you could possibly get through that trust, and then use them. And I think that's what they're doing. I think the whole thing with the rally is fake. I think that was something set up to show them that they are on their side. I think that was just a thrown up, pop-up little event just to think that... Because it doesn't make any sense to me that with so many people in a nation seeing the threat of the Legion right outside their door, why would they care about another nation's suppressed people? Yes, that is a thing. Well, I'm not saying that people wouldn't care. I'm just saying that in this grand scheme of things, with the Legion there having just saved themselves from the Giad Empire, to really go that far, that quickly with a bunch of kids that just show up in their nation, and why would they even broadcast that to the nation unless they really trust their nation with all information of their military? I think they said that was only like a few months after they got there, suddenly everybody in the public knows who they are. I don't think that'd be something that they would trust with the public. Like I said, I think Ernst is really just trying to gain their trust through a more closer bond. So I don't really trust him too much at this point. Additionally, interesting to see Frederica show up in the show already. A lot more goofier than I thought that she would end up being. But again, I think this is kind of a thing where I'm sure that she being the fallen empress is probably going to become into a huge play later on. I don't remember if they ever mentioned the idea of who Frederica was in the grand scheme of things. I don't remember if they mentioned that Frederica was the Empress of Giad, or if that she's the Empress of San Magnolia. Obviously, there's a huge amount of rewriting of history that San Magnolia went through, and my original thought, I think back when we first showed Frederica in that brief vision with the guy saying that he'll kill anybody that will harm the princess, I think at the time I was theorizing that possibly Frederica was the princess of San Magnolia, which I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case because I think the time span there with San Magnolia is way too far. Like, she would be much older now if that was the case. So my guess is that she was the princess or empress of Giad, and then again, Giad fell, whether it because Ernst and them had a coup and took out the leadership, or if the leadership was already dying and they just took over after they were falling, is the big question mark. Like I said, I think based on the idea that Ernst is living with Frederica, that it either assumes that Frederica doesn't know what really happened, or took her in to protect her because obviously her parents were already dead. But yeah, like I said, very interested to see them take this direction. Like I said, I really was kind of shocked to see that they actually kept all these characters alive. But then again, we didn't necessarily see them die, minus Shin, or again, seeing himself being removed. But again, I'm not sure if that's a aspect that they were trying to show, this hallucination he was having, this assumption that would happen, or maybe they caught him in just in time and stopped the whole process. Again, maybe we'll get more information in the future, but I think that's everything. I think this recording is going to be longer than the episode itself, but like I said, a lot to really dive into and theorize and talk about just in one episode, and it was a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, I thank you all for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please leave a like down below if you did. Comment, let me know what you thought of the episode. Do you remember if they called Shin's brother Ray, or am I just misremembering that? What do you think about the Empress being there? What do you think the whole situation is with this president? Do you think he's trustful? What do you think about the whole cast coming back? Let me know in the comments what you think. Definitely love hearing from you guys. And also make sure to join me on a weekly basis. I will be doing impressions on this show on a weekly basis. And I definitely love hearing the comments from you guys. As always, I thank everybody for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video if you can. Support us on Patreon if you can. I definitely appreciate everybody that does. And y'all take care.